Hey, welcome to Cassette Cycling. This is the new and improved Cassette Cycling YouTube channel with added race commentary. So now you get to hear me, Matt Wigton, talking about my midlife crisis. For those of you that are new here, I figured I'd give you a little background on me. I'm a road and criterium bike racer. This is my third season. I'm a Cat 3. Was racing Cat 4 last year and upgraded towards the end of the season. I'm 43 years old, and I got into cycling towards the end of my 30s. So this all still feels pretty new to me. I'm definitely learning a lot every time I hop on the bike, and certainly every time I jump in one of these races. A little bit of background, athletically speaking, I was one of these kids. I was playing all kinds of sports growing up. I really wanted to be a professional baseball player, and I played all through high school. Was going to go off to college to play, but ended up kind of burning out, and so went off to music school instead. So I am a music producer. That's what I do full time. I spent most of my 20s and early 30s running just to stay in shape, but ended up falling off the wagon with that in my mid 30s and put on some weight. Got over 250 pounds, and I'm 6'4". So when I got on the bike in my late 30s, I ended up dropping about 30 pounds pretty quickly. So this has been an interesting fitness journey for sure, because I think initially it was about losing weight, and then as I got more and more into the sport, I started figuring out what I had to do in order to hang on the group rides and to like bust out some KOMs on Strava and et cetera, et cetera. And now that I'm racing, definitely spent a lot of time trying to get a program together that works for me to like build my fitness to help me do races like this. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a background as to like where I'm coming from with all of this. So now that we got that out of the way, let's dive into this race. So again, this is the Roger Millikan Grand Prix. This is the Masters 40 Plus Cat 1 through 3. Like I said earlier, this is the first time I've done a Masters race. This particular race has been going on for, I believe, this is the 37th year. So this is a pretty old race, and you do see a few of these in this part of the country that have just been running for so long, which is really, really cool. So here's some race stats to dive into real quick. The race was 46 minutes, 40 seconds long. I did an average power 288 watts and normalized that at 331. Max power 1,035 watts. These numbers are actually pretty close to what I did last year. Last year, this was the first race I did to start the season off, and I was so nervous. And this is a big field. It was a big field last year. I think it was 75 guys deep. This year it was 69 or 70. And, when you get back into crit mode and you got that many people around you, I don't know. Just has always taken me a minute to kind of get used to, like since I started doing this. So numbers wise, as far as power is concerned, pretty similar to last year's profile. The speed this year was faster from the Cat 4s last year, and this Masters race was a hot one. It was at 27.1 miles an hour, and we were covering some elevation gain too, because you'll see as we come around corner 3, we get into this little kicker, which is like 30 some odd feet, I think, every time around. So that starts to add up, and as you can see, we covered 21 miles in this race. So that kicker is what absolutely shredded me to pieces last year, and it, surprise, surprise, did the exact same thing this year. There were plenty of teams represented here. We had Sharon Smith, who's a national champ, racing for Bahati Foundation. We have Ice Speed, Evoke, Velo Pasadena, Velo Kings from up in Northern California. They've got Mark Tucker, who I'm just now learning about. This guy is a complete hitter. I believe he's actually leading the bar points for this CBR series, which is the best all-around rider. And I've actually never been on a team up until this season. I joined KRT Racing, so that's who I'm out here with. And I'm out here supporting my teammate, Lance Jackson, who is the guy that got me involved with this team to begin with. It kind of made a lot of sense, considering just how many times I inadvertently led this man out last season. So here we are, officially working together. All right, so let's talk about the course a little bit. So this was corner 1 that we just went through, and now we're coming in to just a slight downhill to corner 2 that has a bit of a chicane, I guess you could call it. And this is where you definitely pick up quite a bit of speed. Things tend to get more single file here, as you can see, and almost every time around I felt like we were in the 30, 31, maybe 32 miles an hour range here. So kind of difficult to pass, and part of the reason for that is we're also going into a bit of a cross headwind, and this is the fastest corner we're approaching, corner 3. So you can't get going too fast because if you take it too wide, then you end up eating that curb. This is the kicker that we are currently on. This is about 30 feet or so of gain every time around. And then this is corner 4 going into the finish, the start finish up here. So this course, I would definitely say that this course is one of the most challenging, if not the most challenging and technical crit courses in Southern California. For most of this race, I found the outside line to be the most comfortable and the most smooth, the one that I felt like I could take the most speed through. I did try the inside a couple times, and it just, I don't know, I just never felt comfortable there. So I did stay on the outside for most of this. But part of what makes this course so challenging, I think, is how easily you fall into that washing machine effect, and how, as much as you want to make up wheels, like I would, make an effort to, try to get like 5, 6, maybe 7 wheels made up through parts of these sections. I would inadvertently, come around the last corner into the start finish on the outside line, and I would lose those wheels that I had gained almost every time. So maybe the middle to inside would have been the better move. What do you guys think? Leave me some comments below. I'd love to hear if any of you have raced this, what you found to be the most effective, because this is the second time I've raced this particular race and been on this course, and I still don't feel like I quite have it figured out. So I was on lead-out duties for my teammate Lance for this race, and another challenge that I found, and I kind of expected this based off of my experience from last year, I find it very difficult to conserve energy on a course like this when you're negotiating that little kicker. And being a guy my size, I more times than not would be doing just way too many watts up that kicker just to hold position. So when it comes to, I'm supposed to be leading out my teammate Lance at the end of the race, then I've just got like nothing left in the tank. So that was a huge challenge, something that I was very aware of going into this race. And as much as I wanted to conserve energy, I just found myself burning so many matches every time around. So my mission objective for most of this race, I'd say like the first 3/4 of it, was to just sit in and try to conserve as much energy as possible. So I'm going to skip ahead and take you guys to like the last 3 or 4 laps, and let's just see how I did. So I think we have 3 or 4 laps to go, and up to this point, I think there were a few breakaway attempts. I know Mark Tucker is one of these threats for the break, and he was marked pretty early, so I believe all of that was brought back pretty quickly. So everything's together. I'm definitely feeling pretty fatigued, and as you can see, my heart rate is in the upper 160s, which isn't necessarily ideal. My max is 185, and if I'm having a pretty good race, I generally am keeping my heart rate in the upper 150s. So race fitness, since it's so early in the season, still kind of building that up. So this was also expected, but definitely not completely out of control right now. So definitely manageable. And I just passed my teammate Lance on the right, and he had voiced to me that he wanted me to bring him up, which is exactly what I should be doing right now. But I was dying a slow and painful death, and I think he realized very quickly that our plan was not going to be enacted because I was absolutely dead at this point. One other thing I wanted to point out about the course, especially right in this area, you'll see some spray paint on the ground. There was some pretty nasty little potholes that were marked, and this caused some problems, like right here. We had a couple of these moments where I'm just assuming someone hit one of those and maybe grabbed brakes inadvertently and caused something like that to happen. Definitely made things a little more interesting on a section of the course that would otherwise be pretty uneventful. You know, I will say, having not raced crits since last season, a course like this can be really scary, and going through corners like this one and the next, where you're going pretty quickly and, you know, they're technical. It takes a minute to get this back under your hands and get that feeling back. I definitely started regaining that confidence as the race progressed. But it was definitely a reminder. It's like just one of these humbling things about this sport. It's just a muscle, you know. You gotta get out there and do this regularly and get that feeling, and get that confidence back. So, as much as this course pulled me apart, it is definitely one of my favorite courses in SoCal. It's just such an interesting, very challenging course, as you guys can see. So I'm going to just skip ahead about a half lap. We're a little over 2 laps to go, and I remember this point in the race. This was actually one of the only good moves that I had. I saw things slowing down a little bit and saw this this rider in front of me in the purple. I think it's a Go Fast rider. I just hopped on his wheel and made up a bunch of wheels. So I was actually in not the worst position. There goes Mark Tucker in the yellow jersey. And that was quite the line, too. It was definitely a risky line, but he pulled it off and got through, and now he's sitting up there in the front, the pointy end, which is exactly where I need to be. But instead, I find myself desperately trying to hold my position up this kicker. So we're coming in, 2 laps to go. You can see Sharon Smith over there to the right, and he is a sprinter, 100%, and he will absolutely be a major player at the end of this race. So that would have been a wheel to try to get on. But everybody else knows who he is, and everyone else is trying to hold that wheel. So that all said, things are looking not too bad at this point, position-wise. I'm not mad about this. Definitely fully expecting things to get super fast coming through this corner and probably stay fast until the end. I'm not sure what happened right there. Looked like someone maybe got pushed. I just wish at this point I had more in the tank to just continue to move up and get into position. And you can actually see my teammate Lance right off to the right there. He's probably sitting 5-10 wheels back from the front. So this guy in front of me looks over his shoulder, and anytime you see body language like that in a race, I feel like generally something's about to happen. They're about to make a move. That would have been a great wheel to follow. You can see he's now 10-15 wheels in front of me. And instead, I'm now finding myself blasting it out on this hill once again. There's my teammate Lance up to the right there. And I think this is the lap. Yeah, there's a guy that almost came unclipped there. So there was almost a crash, but thankfully everyone kept it upright. Here we go, one lap to go. And with this course being as technical as it is, and knowing as fast as things get on that back stretch, you really want to be in position going into one to go. You want to be at the very pointy end in the first 5-7 wheels, because knowing as fast as things get and as technical as this is, you're not going to be getting that many opportunities in this last lap to make up any wheels whatsoever, especially without having to burn a huge match, and I was all out of matches. And I think I realized at this point that it was pretty much a lost cause. So as much as I'm grinding away, my race pretty much ended at the beginning of this last lap. So I just want to thank all you guys for taking the time to check this out, and I hope you've enjoyed the commentary over this. In the future, I'll probably try to keep these relatively short, because I know no one wants to hear me talk for an hour over an hour race. So in fact, I generally try to edit most of my videos down and keep them on the shorter side. But every now and then I'll post a full race video, because again, I know some people watch these on the trainer, and so that serves a purpose as well. So like and subscribe, definitely trying to grow the channel, and thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.